Welcome back to episode 6 of the VYPE Recruit Spotlight. Another Friday, another edition where we break down some of the needs to know across the state of Texas when it comes to high school recruits. And once again, joined by Jackson and Will. Jackson, of course, as we know, last week you weren't here. You were doing some other company commitments with our VYPE campus up in Dallas. But back and better than ever. How you doing, Jackson?
Doing good. It's been kind of a slow 2 weeks in recruiting, and I had a fun trip up at Dallas Christian last week, but I'm glad to be back here with you guys.
And Will, you are joining us once again. Never missing an episode as of yet. Don't want to put the pressure on you to, in case you ever have to. But how you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good. I've got a chance to catch up with a couple guys, and we'll interview a little bit later on. So although the recruiting world has been a little bit slow these last few weeks, we're still staying on top of it.
Yeah, and even though it has been slow, there is a couple of things we can talk about as far as our first segment goes with recruiting across the state of Texas. So let's just jump into it. Whoever wants to go first, let's hear about some of this news, even though there's not a lot right now going on in the state of Texas.
Yeah, we're talking about the state of Texas. Talk about the University of Texas. They're going to have a couple big-time visitors, likely in the same weekend. Arch Manning, who although isn't from Texas, we cover quite a bit because of his connection to other recruits. He'll be up there, I believe, March 25th, March 26th, which is in just a couple weeks. Ruben Owens is suspected to go the same week. They're going to try to get all of their 2023, hot targets in the same weekend and hopefully get a few commitments down there.
That's the way you got to do it. You got to get them all up at the same time, make it all, get it as hyper as possible, really play it up. Jackson, how about you? Let's turn it over to you.
I think the biggest news in recruiting this week is we've got some rankings for 2024. We saw that DJ Lagway from Willis was ranked as the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the country, number 3 player in the nation, according to some sites. Also in recruiting news, we had Parker Jenkins from Klein Forest picked up an offer from Ole Miss last week. Has something coming down the road, probably very soon, and it'll be a big-time offer, so keep on the lookout for that.
Will, how about you? Any of the 2024s, now that they've been released, that stand out to you?
Yeah, you want to talk about Lagway and Mabry Matower. Those guys playing in the same district. We haven't seen something like this for as long as I've been covering recruiting, and I believe for a lot longer than that. 2 quarterbacks that will face each other year in, year out, now for the next couple years, and they are considered some of the best, two of the best in the entire country, not in the state, in the country.
Definitely should be an interesting 2 seasons with Willis and the Woodlands battling it out. I know, if I'm not mistaken, the Woodlands also has a lineman that we're kind of hyping up a little bit coming up here in a little bit. So Mabry definitely has that protection on his side, doesn't he, Jackson?
Yes, he does. He has Colton Soraki, who's picked up some offers slowly. He's got an Arkansas, Baylor, SMU, Texas Tech, and I think one more offer. But his recruitment's going slow, but he's definitely a kid that I believe at the end of 2024 will be one of those top offensive linemen in the state.
Well, hey, even though it is a slow day, it doesn't mean we can't move on to our next segment. We don't have to try and drag this out. It's a certain length, right? We talked about that always. So let's move on to our interview segment of the week. And Will, you got a special one for us, so go ahead and lay it out before we jump to that.
I do. We knew this would be a special week for a lot of 2024 recruits. One of them being Maurice Williams, who at one point early on, by a couple sites, was called the best recruit in Texas. He's a top 50 recruit nationally. He was once at Episcopal, once at Legacy School. He's now at Shadow Creek. He's locked in. It's been a big week for him. We recorded this on Wednesday night, right as rankings come out. So let's go ahead and send it over to that. Here with Maurice Williams II out of Shadow Creek, class of 2024. As we've learned this week, a consensus top 50 recruit in the nation, consensus top 10 in the state of Texas. Maurice, welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Just a few moments ago, before we could even get this started, you said you've got huge news coming through your phone right now. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, once again, thanks for coming, and let's go ahead and just get this started, man. You've been on people's radar for a long time. You were at Legacy in middle school, and then at Episcopal your freshman year. Talk to me about what kind of foundation you got at those two schools before you really transition into a huge role at the 6A level.
Okay, so at Legacy, I feel like that helped me because the coach that I had, he was like very close to his athletes. So, but he was like very hard on us too. So, it was a lot of constructive criticism in that came with it. So, that pretty much like got me used to the constructive criticism, and it built me to be able to handle that. And at Episcopal, man, Episcopal really, like, to be honest, I feel like Episcopal deserves more than what I give them, because like if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at. They gave me the opportunity to showcase my skills as a freshman, which some schools don't really do. So, tip my hats to Episcopal for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some incredible talent go through there. Jalen Waddle, Marvin Wilson, Walker Little, and all those guys were around the same time. We've seen them dip off in the last couple of years, but I mean, they're still guys like Chase Jenkins, guys around that area that will still stay in that program for years to come. So then you switch in what is a crazy COVID year. Start off the season with Shadow Creek. What was the biggest challenge in changing environments, going from Episcopal, which is a fairly small school, up to Shadow Creek, which we know has become, as I said, a powerhouse in the last couple of years?
It was, for one, it was more people, so I had to get used to being around more people and being more open. And it's football it was way different, 6A and private school is way different. So I had to most definitely had to get stronger. That was the most important thing that I had to get. I already had the size, but I most definitely had to get in the gym and get stronger. And I wanted 6A for myself. I wanted to prove to everybody that like I'm not just like a kid that's just doing good because I'm in a private school. I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody else that I can do it in 6A too.
And from a mental standpoint, I mean, going from a place where you were basically the best, maybe in the entire conference as a freshman, to a place where there's guys that have the accolades that you do, that have the speed and the size. How did you kind of deal with that in that shift there?
I really just took it and learned from it. I I had someone on my team. I'm pretty sure you know D. Lou. He's very good. So I looked up to him and I learned a lot from him. He taught me like a lot more than I could learn, more than some people learn in their whole high school careers in 1 year. So I thank him for that. So he helped me get through that curve and that hump.
Yeah, I mean, when we first saw your name pop up a few months ago as Shadow Creek safety, me and Delu have been friends for months and months, and playing next to a guy like that who had the D1 talent, maybe just never got that opportunity, and then to have you right next to him made you guys, incredible during the season last year. Now you'll be by yourself, and you've got younger talent coming in. I've heard this 24 class at Shadow Creek is really something special. Talk to me
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, we got some cooking up at Shadow Creek these next few years. Our 25 class is great too. Our freshmen this year, they're gonna be tough.
Yeah, it seems like you guys just keep reloading. Coach
Yeah,
Butler just always pulls something out,
yeah,
finds guys that just need that opportunity, and you were one of them.
yeah.
So earlier on, I talked about how you have been on people's radars for a long time, dating back. There's articles dating back to your time at Legacy. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you got so much attention from a young age?
Um, Probably I feel like it's just because of the work I put in. Like that's like the most important thing. Like you gotta keep your head on straight. You can't lose focus. You just gotta keep working. I feel like I did a great job of that. My dad and everybody around me just helped me keep my head on straight and keep focused. So I feel like that's probably why.
Yeah, and you mentioned your dad, and he came up earlier before we started this. Talk to me about what kind of influence he's had on your football life.
Man, he's big. Not even just football, just life. He showed me that like you don't really need anyone to go get it. You just got to put your mind to it. Like whatever you put your mind to, you just got to go get it. Like it's no excuses. Cause I seen him come from nothing, so it's no excuse why I can't do it for myself. To just keep working.
Absolutely. I mean, that's great right there. And you're busy this off season.
Yes, sir.
Around this time of the year, we do interviews pretty late at night because the top recruits in the state, in the country, however you want to put it, they're all doing track. Talk to me about what your schedule looks like on a weekly basis in between, the weight room, track, and then 7-on-7.
Oh, track is everyday thing, so it's tough. So we do the lifting and stuff during fifth period. So but after school we come from 3:15 to I say around 4:15 probably last. That's school track practice, and then I go to track practice outside of that with Fast University. That starts at 5:30. We go to the track from like 5:30 to 7, and then 7:30 to like I say about 8:45 we go to the gym. But today I didn't go to the gym because I run tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, or I mean, you were mentioning
That's like a Monday through Thursday thing.
that's really incredible. It'll probably take a couple years to realize what kind of schedule that is. How wild that is to be one of the top recruits, one of the top players in the country in your class, and we know that's in part, no, and thanks to trainers and coaches that have helped you throughout the last few years. Who were some of the guys that you really pinpoint that success to?
Jaleel Johnson, aka Pick Six, he helped me transfer because at first, before my freshman year, I didn't know anything about safety or any DB at all, and so he really like changed my whole game around in like less than 6 months, I'll say. And as far as track and speed in general, I'll give a big shout out to Will, aka Fast University. I've been training him since I was in seventh grade, and ever since then, he really changed my life as far as track. And then trainer KB, he does everything as far as footwork and explosion, and then muscle groups and stuff like that. And last but not least, Donnie, of course, being me, he helped me so much with everything as far as recruiting and even training.
Absolutely. I saw you with the pick six beanie on
Yeah,
in a picture, and I was waiting for a Jaleel Johnson
yeah,
name drop right there, and we got it. So getting a chance to talk to you in a pretty big week for you. All these consensus ratings coming out. Rivals let out their updated ratings. And
Yeah.
like I said, top 50 in the country, top 10 in Texas, top 5 to most people. What have you seen from this 2024 class so far nationally? Some of those guys that are ahead of you, what do you think you can do to be ahead of them in the next ratings?
It's all about competition, man. It's all about who wants more, who works the hardest, and yeah, that's really all it is whoever wanted more. You got to go get it. It's competition. It's not a friendly game.
And how do you kind of deal with that? Your name is just about everywhere right now, and I'm sure people around you have told you it's only going to get bigger from this point on. So how have you kind of dealt with that? Almost fame at this point.
I try not to like think about it too much. I try to just stay like down to earth and like everything that comes with it. I just try to like expect it already. I don't try to like I just try to think of it ahead of time so I don't have to be surprised when it comes. But yeah, that's really how I deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go ahead and get into the part that a lot of college fans are here for. You're officially offered by 9 teams right now. Who are you connected to the most throughout this process so far?
I say at the top of my list, I have to put Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Baylor and FSU. I'm keeping my range open, and then A&M. Even though they didn't offer me yet, but A&M is up there too. And anybody else, any other college who's interested in me, I'm highly interested.
Yeah, what are you excited about the most to go through this process? We know camps will start up in a couple months. So what really has you the most interested as we head into the summer months?
I'll probably say the camps and the one-on-ones and the camps. Man, I love the one-on-ones. That's my thing right there. I love to do that. I love the competition.
All right, and we've got one more thing, because right before this interview started, you said, "Man, I've got some huge news on my phone." So go ahead and hit me.
Can I just show it on the screen?
Just go ahead and tell us.
All right, so 247 just came out my rankings. I mean, and my stars and stuff, and I just got bumped up from 4-star to a 5-star. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Hey, there we go. You see yourself 31 nationally, the second ranked safety, and number 4 player in the state of Texas.
Yep.
Maurice Williams II. We know you'll be a big star. Honored to talk to you. Congratulations on a big week, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you for this.
Oh, what a great interview, Will. And just talk to me about like how awesome was that while during the interview, you got to find out that, he got that 5-star. Kind of like you're almost like Adam Schefter right there, right? Finding out the breaking news as you were on air. What was that like for you just to be able to interview him and find that out at the same time?
Yeah, even before Maurice found out, we'd spent a couple minutes before the interview just chatting it up, kind of talking about what was going on in his life other than football. And he said, "Man, I've got something huge on my phone right now. Do you want me to tell you?" And I said, just wait for the interview. He had the energy all throughout. Hope we get to see him. Hope we get to connect with his family pretty soon.
It was definitely a great interview, and glad you were able to get him on. Excited to see what he's going to do, this coming season. It is now time to jump to our last segment of the show, our under the radar recruits, as we like to call them, recruits that for one reason or another just aren't getting the hype that they deserve. Sometimes it could just be maybe going to a smaller school, what have you. So this week, I'm going to start with Jackson. Jackson, who is your under-the-radar recruit for this week?
So my under-the-radar recruit for this week is Jarvis Butler from Lamar High School. He's a 6'1", 280-pound defensive lineman, 3-year varsity letterman, first-team all-district. He just posted a video this week. They were maxing out at Lamar. He squatted 550 pounds. While he's an undersized D lineman, I expect him to start pick up some momentum in the recruiting coming in the next couple of weeks, but he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out for next year.
We're going to turn it over to you now. Who is your under the radar recruit for this week?
Yeah, this week it's going to be Keyshawn Robinson out of West Orange Stark. This isn't exactly the area that Jackson and I cover a lot. This is more of that southeastern side. West Orange Stark, we know they've got the big-time recruits. Demetrius Hunter last year who's at the University of Houston now. Keyshawn plays defensive back. I believe he also played quarterback for West Orange Stark last year. He says he's excited for the new regime over there, and he's not exactly the biggest at 5'9", but he's got a lot of heart. He's one of the fastest guys on the field. Excited to see him play this year.
And of course, as always, if you are a recruit or you know someone that is maybe under the radar, let us know. Jump in our DMs, email us at info@VYPE. Let us know. We will cover you on our show. That's what we're here. That's what we're here to do, is to bring light to some of these recruits that aren't getting the exposure that they deserve. Before we get out of here today, I do know that there is something coming up. I believe it's this weekend, if I'm mistaken, that you two are going to be at. So I don't know who wants to take it away. Will or Jackson, go ahead and tell us what we've got on the pipeline this coming weekend.
Yeah, I've got it, Jackson. Jackson and I will be back at Gosling Sports Park. I was there just a couple weeks ago in the Woodlands, this time for End Zone 7-on-7. Once again, top teams from the nation. We're going to see a lot of guys in-state. Mabry Matower, we already have something set up with him to chat with him once again. I'm sure next week's show will be loaded, Jackson, because we're going to see some of the best talent in Texas.
I mean, we're going to see some of these 2024 guys that have gotten early rankings, or we're going to see some high-rated 2023 guys. It's going to be really exciting. It's fun for me, being from the Woodlands, not get to drive too far to catch a lot of these top talented guys. Should be a fun weekend.
Well, definitely follow along on social media. I'm sure it'll be on Will's social media. Will, what is your social Twitter handle, so people that might not be following you yet can follow you? Because I know you post a lot of stuff when you go to these type of events.
Yeah, it's just my name, Will Turboff, Turboff.
There you go. So definitely follow Will. Jackson as well. Jackson, go ahead and let people know your Twitter handle in case you're going to be tweeting from that, or will you be tweeting from VYPE Houston?
I will actually be tweeting from VYPE Houston. Might tweet from my own account, which is JacksonDip_1. But most likely going to be going from the VYPE Houston account, trying to cover a lot of these Houston area kids.
Well, there you go, folks. Definitely tune into the VYPE Houston and Will Turboff's Twitter this weekend, where they're going to have you covered on some of these recruits. That's going to do it for our show this week. Before we get out of here, I always like to give Will and Jackson the chance to shout some people out, or just shout out something in general. Will, go ahead and shout out for us.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Clay Kubiak. He was great to me at Strake Jesuit when he was the head coach there. He has now been promoted to assistant quarterbacks coach. Will be working under Brian Greasy for the San Francisco 49ers. Shout out to all the coaches that I'm looking forward to seeing at End Zone this weekend. Shout out to our guest last week, Braylon Shelby, who took a visit to University of Southern California. Said he had a great time, really loves the program there, loves Coach Riley. So, yeah, that'll do it for me.
Jackson, go ahead and give us some shout-outs.
I'm going to give my shout-out to DJ Lagway. He's put in a lot of work. He's putting Willis back on the map, being the number 3 recruit in the nation, according to most sites. It's been exciting to watch him play, and I'm excited to watch him the next 2 years go up against another great quarterback in Mabry Matoyer. So, shout-out DJ, shout-out Mabry. Thanks, guys.
And I'm going to jump away from the sport of football. I'm going to shout out the Cedar Park Lady Timberwolves for going undefeated this season. And not only that, they're now on a 62-game win streak. It took them double overtime against Frisco Memorial in the state finals, but they got the job done. Congratulations to the Cedar Park Lady Timberwolves. You're my shout-out for this week. That is, once again, going to do it for our episode 6 of the VYPE Recruit Spotlight. Until next week, I'm Wack. That's Jackson and Will. We'll see you at the games.